All right, very important video. I think nobody talks about this at all. On the internet, I don't think anybody ever mentions this. Some few people do mention it slightly, but nobody really dives deep into why your face can be really big. And I see this sometimes people have like really like big faces, but then their body looks pretty muscular. Like you don't get like this or like this line right here. My face isn't completely sculpted either, but it's not. Right now, it's pretty proportionate to my body, like the way my body looks. Right now, I'm still in between gaining and losing fat, gaining muscle and losing fat. So it's a process. But while I'm doing that, I've done a bit of research and I've looked into exactly why that is. Why my face you can have a face that's big but then a muscular body. And I've talked about this before, but today I want to talk about it at length because I have a lot of experience in it, and people do surface level research on exactly what you need to do in order to reduce the body fat in your face. So if you're looking to get a model physique body, it's quite simple. So everybody knows this. I don't know what happened, but growing up in the Arnold Schwarzenegger era, it was pretty simple that you just need to go to the gym, you need to work out, you need to put in the work, and it's fine. And you think that you'd look like him exactly, but you wouldn't. And a lot of it, we think is genetics, and genetics does play a part in it, but people forget that epigenetics is probably more than half the battle. So over the course of your lifetime, depending on how you live, depending on the environment you live in, your body is gonna adapt. It's gonna change, and that really is what is supposed to happen. Like that's your genetics do play a part, but what's supposed to happen is at any given point you can adapt to any situation if you just go through the pain, you work hard enough, things like that. And a person like Arnold Schwarzenegger, sure he worked his body really well, but that does not explain why his face was so sculpted. That wouldn't make any sense. And the reason why that is because in the face, nobody talks about this, but in the face there are about 52 muscles in the face. So you see these guys in the gym, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, all these guys who've, they're the pioneers of having elite bodies via gym workout. But what they don't show you is while they're doing this, like they're working out, they're being ultra hyper masculine. They don't show you that okay, they're going and like they're eating like really like tough and chewing tough food and tough meat. Like I look at a guy like Tristan Lee, and it's got a looking at him right here. So right here, amazing physique. I mean, far greater than mine. I mean, look at this. Just look at this. The comparison is crazy. He has an like amazing physique. You look at the face though, and that's a child's face. It's very clear, and people would say, and there's actually some truth to this. It's just Asian genetics. Nothing you could do about it. Well, there is something you could do about it. It's because of the Asian diet. So, I live here in Korea. I have Korean friends, uh, and I have a Korean friend, and she mostly eats rice and carbs. So she's mostly eating foods that, like, you slurp it in, like foods that are soft. She's not eating. If you watch Beauty and the Beast, Gaston, Gaston, I think there's a point where Gaston was he would eat. I forget what it was, but it was a big flex back in the day to have a really strong jaw force, like jaw bite. And I think he ate like a coconut in whole. That was his flex, or maybe it was a watermelon. And, like he ate it in whole. It was something really tough that he just ate and like bited with such force. And that's something that isn't talked about anymore. It's not something that is flexed on anymore. Like you don't flex on like how strong your jaw force is, the strength of your jaw, like how you can bite. That's not a flex anymore. And because of that, it's taken some years, but it's finally starting to show on just the modern person. this is what people are starting to look like. It's like you have a lot of people like this, model physique, body, but then look at the face and it's nothing. Like you don't look like a guy. Like you don't look like a proper masculine man. And you get the opposite too. You get people who like Killian Murphy, for example. Um, Dude has a chiseled face. Like his face looks godlike. It looks amazing. Like very much has, you can see the cheekbones very pronounced. Like jawline, very like nothing here. Just very pronounced jawline. Again, lines here. You got the brow ridge would be very pronounced. Like the eyelids aren't coming out; they're really reduced in. You know, they say smoking does this too, but that's not a route you want to take. Some of the advice you get from models on how to achieve that kind of look that Killian Murphy has is, and I've spoken about this before, is to drink coffee. It does help. Smoking is an option too. It does reduce the body fat, the sebaceous fat that happens, but the thing that does come back is the thing that isn't talked about enough is that when you do that, it's just gonna come back stronger. Whereas, what my solution is, and what people don't talk about enough is just work out the face. There are muscles here along this line, muscles here on this side too, here, all throughout here. The jaw is like right here, like the masseter muscle. I don't know if you guys can see that. This, it's all this, like right here, like underneath the cheekbones. Let me see. The light is messing it up, but you can kind of see it. You can barely see it, but it goes. If I lost a lot more water retention and a lot more body fat, you'd see it go here, all the way down. That's what you should be seeing right here, but because of the foods that he's possibly, and I don't look. I used to make a debate with someone who was she worked out in the gym a lot. I think she did personal training for some people. She was really interested in doing it. In the past, I made the debate that food was just nutrition and that there was no need ever to eat food, like as in chewing food. All you needed to achieve this kind of physique was to get the nutrients. There's no need to ever chew food. You can literally just put, all your food, your micros into a blender, which I did for a while, and just drink it, like, no problem. And to get this physique, I still agree with that. I still believe in that. But this right here needs some work, and that's not gonna come from slipping all your food. In fact, if that's what you're gonna do all the time, then you're just gonna take whey protein smoothie shakes, and this is why I don't do that. I think it's a good option, but I see a lot of the times that people who do that, their face just looks like shit. Like they have an amazing body, but then their face just sags. And the reason why that is because you're slurping whey protein all the time, which is full of sugar. Again, weighing the fat down, bringing a lot of water into your face as well. You're not getting the meat. You're not chewing your food. This is what happens. Your face just looks like this. Whereas if you do take the traditional approach, I guess you could say the conservative approach to getting all of your protein in, where you have to chew the food, which is really hard, you can start getting more pronounced lines here. You can start getting a good jawline like this. Again, the lines right here. I don't have the most amazing physique in terms of facial face, but you can see like the nose bridge here, things like these things that I have going on. If I just slurped it all, my face would just be big. Like it would be very puffy. It wouldn't be in line or proportion to the way my body looks. It'd be very much disproportionate. And this isn't talked about enough at all. We're just kind of told to drink the whey protein and you're going to get this physique, but instead you get memes like this where you got guys like this who think that this is just something that you can't do anything about. It's not, your face is going to look like this and there's no other option. I've talked about in a video before, the reason why I want to emphasize today in this video about eating specifically is because I've done the mewing. Mewing works. Like my nose bridge is out. I'm supposed to have a big like puffy nose, not a nose that goes further than my lips. Like that's not how my nose is supposed to be. That's not how it was growing up. Mewing does in fact work, and if you're new to the video, to the channel, or you're new to this video and it's your first time watching, if you're new to mewing essentially is your tongue. You got a maxilla bone right here, which is where the cheekbones are. It moves your face forward, like your nose bridge, your brow ridge, everything. It moves your face forward via muscle, like moving via your muscles, mainly the tongue. So your tongue is a very long muscle that goes all the way down here. Like it's very very long. That's why sometimes if you eat really bad food, like you can brush your tongue at the top, but if you're not brushing like the back, like at the very end, you know, you still have your breath can still stink because your tongue is very long. Like if you eat bad food long enough, like really really bad food, and you're brushing the tip of your tongue is not gonna help or do anything. The tongue is a very long muscle, and what it does is it actually keeps your maxilla bone up. So that's its job. Is when you're at rest, your tongue should be up. It should be pushing against the roof of your mouth. It should be at all times, and you gotta do this right too. It has to push at the back of your mouth, because if it pushes it's a muscle, and muscles, they are really good when it comes to force. I've talked about this before. I'm not gonna get too much into length. Watch my video on cheekbones, but it's really good against like high impact, fast impact force. But your bones are really bad when it comes to, really susceptible to slow and just minor force. So slow but continuous force via the tongue is what's gonna allow your cheekbones to come up and to come out and go forward. And that's how you get this jawline. That's how your face goes forward and it doesn't sag. Now I've done that and I know it works, but to an extent. If you want to get that elite Cillian Murphy like physique, like where the cheekbones are prominent, but then they become even more prominent because the cheeks are sinking in. I've talked also about eating properly. You have a muscle that goes right here. I can't think of the name right now, but if you're eating certain foods that are like a burger, when you eat a burger, you're biting it, and the bread and some pieces of the meat go out into your cheeks, so you start working the cheeks more, and that makes your cheeks, because it's a muscle here, puff out more, like boom boom, like they go out more because of that. Conversely, instead, what you do is you eat tough foods and you eat tough meats. You won't have meat going in, you won't have bread, or you won't be slurping, you won't have excess food going into the outsides of your mouth. It all stays inside, but then also you're working the muscles of your face. Your muscle becomes stronger and becomes tighter. It starts to come in more, and you start doing that in turn with mewing. That's how you're gonna start having an excellent physique. I found in myself that I do mewing every day in my sleep all the time. I still don't have an amazing, like I did last year, whereas I was eating really tough foods. I was also chewing mastic gum, which if you don't know, you can go onto Amazon. Mastic gum is a very tough gum that you can chew continuously, and it just works the muscles in your face. You do that, and in terms of everything else, that's how you don't get this kind of face where you think that you're just gonna look like this. This is a product of not eating properly in the face. Not only not eating properly in the face, but not having the completely right technique in eating, not mewing properly, and not getting potassium in the right, like calcium, potassium, sodium. All these things are electrolytes that produce water in the face. Not getting all of that is what making this happen. So you can't just do one thing and it's gonna make your face sculpted. You gotta do a multitude of things, and nobody talks about this ever. You see a lot of people who look like this all the time. You know, maybe they choose the right foods. That's fine. That's one aspect. Okay, so you're chewing the right way. You can chew like eating the right foods, eating really tough meat. That's one aspect. That's what I do. Every time I go out, I usually get like beef jerky. That's what I mainly eat on. And again, I don't have the most at the moment. I don't have the most sculpted face, but it does help. So doing that, and if you watch any of my past videos, if you kept up with me on Instagram, my face is definitely like evolved. Like it's definitely, if you look at my story, you can see me prior, like 2 years ago. Face was very puffy all the time. I had a lot of acne, and then over the time, you could see me at my most sculpted. My face just looks like a Greek god, and that was because I did potassium. I had lost a lot of body fat, so I also did fasting, and like 2 days fasting, 3 days fasting. I ate potassium, electrolytes, things like that, which diuretics, which reduced all the water weight in my face. So my face was dehydrated, but I was still keeping up with my hydration. So that those two, and then I was mewing as well, like really tough mewing, like hard mewing, like really hard. And then in combination with that, I would like chew, like make sure that no food. I kind of fuck up with this, but food still sometimes goes at the end, because it's really, you gotta. Growing up, if I grew up doing it, people who are like royal people, like they do this easily, but for me, it's really tough. Like I want to eat a burger, and I just want to eat it without thinking about how I gotta eat it. Like I don't want to have to chop burgers into like tiny bits. Like you see this a lot. People, they eat their food, like they take a burger, like people who are really rich, and they have it on a like toothpick. I never understood that, but it actually does make sense, because I don't know if they even knew this, but they don't work the muscle here, and so their face just looks more healthy. Whereas people who eat burgers like this, all the food just goes on the ends. So I don't want to do that. And plus, I like to eat pizza too. Like these things, I just hate doing it, and because of that, my face doesn't always look as sculpted. Like I don't always have a proper OG curve. I have sometimes my eye bags start to come out and not fully reduced. But for the purpose of this video, if you combine all these things together, like that, and that, like you're not gonna look like this. There's no way you're gonna look like this over time. You're chewing tough food. There are 52 muscles in the face. Like you got this, you got muscles here, you got muscles on your forehead, all these muscles. And if you're chewing your food in the front and the back, you're using the back, teeth, front teeth, all over like that, like you're gonna be moving the muscles of the face. We understand that if you lose fat, like body fat, but you're not gaining any muscle, you're just gonna look skinny fat. That applies to the face as well. Like your abs, in order to get abs, you got people who are constantly, I see this in the gym, it's so strange. You got people who are constantly doing the crutches like this, but then their diet is shit. So you never actually see the results. Conversely, you got people who are not doing that, they're not working the abs, and I've had this issue recently too. Like I've noticed with myself, I'm not doing ab workouts. Now I just started going back to doing it because I understand it. But I'm not doing ab workouts, and I'm losing body fat. So I'd have to, but because of that, because I'm not doing the ab workouts, I'm like, why am I not seeing my abs as much as I used to? It's because I have to, and it gets harder too. Like I have to lose even more fat in order to see it. But if you work out and you lose the body fat and you're fasting and you have a good diet, that's when you start to see the abs. Same thing with the face. The more, if you're gonna starve yourself to death trying to go with a sculpted face without ever doing the proper workouts on your face, like never chewing the right foods, chewing hard foods, just thinking that you need to lose body fat percentage in order to gain muscle in your face and properly look like a proper Chad, per se. Then it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. So, and this could apply both to men and women. Women don't necessarily need to have really strong, pronounced cheekbones with a very hollow eyes and a gaunt look. You do see this in modeling still, like Bella Hadid has that kind of face. She has a very pronounced cheekbone and like sunken cheeks and kind of hollow eyes. But women can get away with this. But if you still want to have that kind of look, like she can get away with this kind of area right here. But this is pretty ideal. This is something to strive for, and this again is a product of not eating crazy, like not having food going into the end of the cheeks and it's going out, instead to get this kind of appearance right here where it's like down and this goes out. You gotta make sure you do all those things. Not so much for females. It was not evolutionarily. It wasn't ever something to be proud of. I'm gonna be able to eat into a coconut, like the bite force of a gorilla. But having proper etiquette with your food, mewing when you're sleeping, so not with your tongue out, like not sleeping with your mouth open, not looking down all the time. Again, the tongue is going down, your tongue is up. That's how you can go from looking like that and this to this in the face. Like, it's a clear difference. Not an amazing body, but amazing face, and then just a shit like boyish looking face. Imagine carrying that kind of face all the way into, when you're 50, it's okay. As we get older, naturally we're gonna lose the reduction in our sebaceous glands, our sebaceous fat. So your face is naturally going to age, which again, when you're getting older, you can do the opposite. If that's the case, you can start doing things to make your face look bigger like this when you're older. But for guys especially, this kind of look, when you get to 20 to 30, even to your 40, it just doesn't look very good. Like it doesn't, you look very childlike. Like you don't want that look. You want this kind of, you want the lines, you want to have this. It looks more masculine when you have these kind of features and everything pops out. I don't have exactly, I should have more of a hollow eye area, but it's fine. But you certainly don't want to look like this, where your eyes are like, this is a more feminine look. If you're a woman, this is fine. But ideally, of course, everybody wants to look like this, where it's almost alien-like. Like it's very, very rare to have this look, and it just comes from having the proper muscle activation in your face. Like this takes having some muscle definition. It takes a bit of work. So I hope this video helps. Nobody talks about this ever. I don't know why, but you work out the body, but nobody ever makes it a workout to the face. Like nobody talks about it. Nobody's like flexing like nobody's ever like really displaying masculine like nobody displays that. I don't know why. So if that is something that you want to achieve right here, this kind of look, which I also as well find it very appealing, then you need to do all those things. So make sure you're eating tough foods instead of today, whereas we eat, burgers and fries and, everything is covered in sugar today. You got, if you're gonna, I had went to a place, like a Waffle House kind of place, to eat eggs, and the butter that was there to make the eggs softer was just filled with sugar, and it made the eggs so soft, like it just melted in my mouth. I hated it. Everything today is just filled with so much sugar. You want to have a salad, you put dressing in it, which again has tiny bits of sugar in it. You want to do anything, like you want to have like a hot dog, you put ketchup on it, again salt and sugar. It just makes the food softer, makes it easier to digest, sure, but it doesn't make your face any tougher. Whereas the people of old just ate food raw. Broccoli ate raw, carrots raw, coconut. Just how much can you bite into a coconut? Like how strong is your jaw? They can just bite into it. That kind of deal. I'm not gonna get into also like teeth, straightening and how teeth. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, it's a whole nother video. But it's all connected. Like some of the things that we've done today is actually ruining our physiques, and we don't even realize it. It's just normal to cook food. Like, it's normal to microwave your food. It's normal to cook your food over excessively. Everything needs to be cooked. Everything needs to be soft. There are some things that don't need to be. Like broccoli, you don't need to always eat it. There's some things there's some parts of broccoli that needs to be cooked. That is actually healthier. There's some vegetables. I think spinach is more healthy cooked. I think there's some nutrients that are more unlocked when you eat it cooked, and that's fine. There are some vegetables that are required for that, but for the most part, most vegetables and most fruits, certainly fruits, do not need to be cooked. And meat, fine, but to an extent, right? Like adding sugar to everything just makes things softer completely, and that's making our face just look bloated and does not look at all like it's supposed to be. Soon enough, all of us might have, because this information isn't getting out there enough, soon enough everybody's going to have great physiques, fine, but we're just going to look very puffy in the face for unnecessarily. I hope this video helps. Anyways, I'm out.